Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. The Bahamian Government is reviewing laws to address domestic violence. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 26 November 2021. Details when we return.
Conveniently located in the Grand Ann Shopping Centre, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grand Anse will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Welcome back. The new Philip Davis administration in the Bahamas is in the process of reviewing laws to address the rise in domestic violence and abuse in light of recent troubling incidents.
Word of this from Press Secretary Clint Watson, who says the public has been pressing for action and the government is listening.
The Minister of Social Services and his Minister of State have talked about it. And that's a good example, again, of national issues and people shaping the conversation. As tragic as the events have been that we've heard, it's caused an outcry among the people and is forcing government to now consider and take a look at these things. And that's what I'm talking. I'm not saying let's wait for an event to happen because Lord knows we don't want it to happen. But there has to be an outcry of the issue that will drive the conversation, and that has driven this conversation. And there are talks in the works. Even the Attorney General says he's reviewing these laws in the books regarding domestic abuse and violence and so forth to see whether there is any room for strengthening or reforming. But the conversation is being had at the government level, yes.
Antigua and Barbuda's top diplomat in Washington, Sir Ronald Sanders, has provided a blunt assessment of the 54-nation Commonwealth. Ragib Aparicio of ABS News reports.
A Commonwealth of the People, Time for Urgent Reform was released in October of 2011. Antigua and Barbuda's ambassador to the Organization of American States, Sir Ronald Sanders, was one of 10 diplomats who compiled 106 recommendations for the Commonwealth to implement. The report warned on issues such as development, trade and investments, climate change, and global pandemics. The Commonwealth is in danger of becoming immaterial as beleaguered nations look elsewhere for the help they need.
Exactly what was said has come to pass. The Commonwealth is totally irrelevant to those matters because it has not taken any initiatives on them.
Sir Ronald laments the Commonwealth did not reform at all.
If one were to look at the recommendations that were made, they are significant in terms of what the Commonwealth has not done, as distinct from what it could have done.
The OAS ambassador says the COVID-19 pandemic highlights how the Commonwealth's failure to implement the recommendations worked to the detriment of its 54 member states. Sir Ronald explains the EPG urged the Commonwealth to improve vaccine accessibility for its members.
It set up relations with pharmaceutical companies, with private sector organizations like Bill Gates, to try to develop a system by which this would have been addressed. Now, we said that 10 years ago. We're now with COVID. Had that been done, we would have had a mechanism for dealing with it.
Sir Ronald adds the needs of member states are diverse. He had this final recommendation to deliver.
To find priorities on which all countries in the Commonwealth could agree. And let us make sure that those are the priorities that the Commonwealth pursues.
Rakib Aparicio reporting for ABS News.
Over in Kingstown, St. Vincent, the SVG government on Tuesday expressed condolences to the family of Sir James Mitchell, the country's second Prime Minister who died at the age of 90. A statement issued by the Office of the Prime Minister said that as a mark of respect, all flags throughout the state will be flown at half-mast from Tuesday, November 23rd to Thursday, November 25th, and on the day of the funeral. Sir James will be accorded a state funeral, details of which will be provided in a subsequent announcement, the statement said. Sir James, who had represented the Northern Grenadines constituency for more than 33 years, served as Prime Minister from 1984 to 2000. He also served as Premier from 1972 to 1974 and was founder and president of the main opposition New Democratic Party, the NDP. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines takes this opportunity to extend sincere condolences to the family of the late Sir James Fitz-Alan Mitchell, the statement said. Sir James, who was popularly known as Son Mitchell, died 5 days after being discharged from the intensive care unit of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Barbados, where he had been taken after falling ill at his home in Bequia on October 30th. He was initially diagnosed in Bequia as having a gallstone, but was brought to the capital, Kingstown, where doctors said he had an infection.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
November has broken Trinidad and Tobago's record for the highest number of new COVID cases to be recorded in 1 month, and the month isn't over yet. Deaths from the virus are also mounting, but the Minister of Health denies claims that the system has crashed. TV6's Renessa Cutting reports.
On a monthly basis, already, although the month of November has not yet finished, we are seeing that the total for November has surpassed the totals for July through October and, in fact, June.
With an additional 689 new COVID cases reported today and an additional 11 deaths, November now holds the record for the highest number of new COVID cases in 1 month at 10,335 new cases. Of equal concern is the fact that the positivity rate has also increased exponentially, with 4 to 5 of every 10 persons tested now being confirmed positive for the virus.
So that positivity has increased, and it reflects a higher level of viral circulation within the population. For all of the counties, basically, with possibly the exception of Nueva Mayaro, we did see an increase in the numbers of cases in each county from week 44 to week 45, the purple being week 44 and the gold being week 45. And that really represents the increase that we are concerned about with respect to the countrywide surge.
And with deaths also being recorded in the double digits on most days, the ministry is denying reports that the morgues are spilling over with the dead.
Mr. Belgrove is liaising with our Chief Public Health Inspector under the Office of the Chief Medical Officer and my direction to come up with contingency plans. Our morgues at this point in time are not overfull or overflowing. I got some reports which I am crunching now. But the issue is more people are dying.
The minister also refuted claims in the public domain that persons are being denied ICU care due to limited capacity.
By the end of this week, because of the work we did over the weekend, when we got in 13 more vents and associated equipment, we'll be moving to 102. So no patient has been denied access to an ICU at this point in time.
However, the TNT Registered Nurses Association is on record as saying that despite the additional physical resources, ICU care continues to be compromised due to a shortage of nursing staff. The health minister disagrees.
Electronic monitoring of patients which is actually better, and I'll tell you why. The screens that are set up in the cold zone have alarms and bells and whistles, which automatically tracks the patient's SpO2 levels, pulse rate, cardiac rhythms, and one other parameter which I forget now. And whenever something amiss happens, the alarm goes off in that electronic monitoring system.
The minister says the RHAs are doing the best they can to support nursing personnel and other healthcare workers during this trying time. Renessa Cutting, TV6 News.
The 5.7% growth projected by the IMF, while positive, is insufficient to get Trinidad and Tobago to where it needs to be. This is the view of one local economist who calls for urgent structural adjustment. Urvashi Tiwari Rupnarayan of TV6 News has that report.
The latest IMF Article 4 report, Moody's recent credit rating, and the World Bank's 360-degree report, in this economist's opinion, all point TNT's economy in the same direction.
There is urgent need for structural reform in Trinidad and Tobago. The economy is not growing as it should. The relative performance, as Mariano mentioned, is leading to a sort of global pauperization.
The IMF last Friday released its Article 4 report projecting 5.7% growth for the local economy.
5.7%, and praises the government for its management of COVID-19. And 5.7% growth is a lot of growth. And we take that, we haven't seen growth since 2015 in Trinidad and Tobago. So that's 6 consecutive years of decline. You call that a depression.
And even with that growth, Dr. Hussein says TNT will still be among the 25 worst performing economies of the world. Former Trade Minister Mariano Brown says Moody's downgrading of the TNT economy to junk status only spells further complications.
Moody's report says that you are being downgraded. It means that you are not going to be able to borrow and the same terms as you did, more costly. That's a sort of realistic assessment of where you are. What the numbers on the other side show, and what is important is that they show projections. And it's consistent with the previous report, but the IMF has said in the past. This is not new. The 5.75% is a positive number. It sounds good. But what one would call a bounce effect? It's to carry us back to where we were in 2019.
Former Energy Minister Kevin Ramnarine took issue with the IMF's praise of government's handling of the pandemic.
I thought that the IMF was detached from the reality of Trinidad and Tobago, especially as it relates to COVID, because the IMF gave the government, great praise for how they managed COVID-19. And at the material time that the report came out, we are in what Dr. Joel Tiloxing calls this morning the worst medical crisis in the history of Trinidad and Tobago.
And what of the IMF's recommendation that all restrictions on current international transactions be removed while providing sufficient foreign exchange to meet demand for all current transactions?
So effectively what they're saying is allow the floating exchange mechanism to work, which is what they've been saying all the time. Now that's not going to make a change immediately in terms of who gets what. It just means that everybody will have an opportunity to get it, but the price is likely to be different.
For these experts, the writing was always on the wall, and the IMF only confirmed what they had been forewarning years before.
Thanks for the report. There's still tough times ahead.
Urvashi Tiwari Rupnarayan, TV6 News.
Conveniently located in the Grand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair grants will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.